A battle at the Supreme Court over the future of civil rights in this country.
In 1964, Martin Luther King Jr. watched as President Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act into law. And now, more than half a century later, the justices are trying to determine if the act covers gender identity and sexual orientation. CBS 2's Alice Gaynor has more now on this passionate debate. Alice.
Christina and Maurice, this will determine whether the Civil Rights Act of 1964 applies to members of the LGBTQ community, as you mentioned. It's a law that prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, and LGBTQ supporters are hoping this will extend to sexual orientation. Police cleared 2 suspicious packages at the Supreme Court as justices began to hear arguments.
Civil rights, now!
Demonstrators from both sides of the debate gathered outside. Some were arrested for blocking a street. One case heard today involves Gerald Bostock, who says he was fired as a child welfare services coordinator in Georgia after joining a gay softball league.
Homophobia is wrong, plain and simple.
Tuesday morning's oral arguments also involved a skydiving instructor from Calverton, Long Island, Don Zarda, who was fired after telling a client he was gay. Zarda has since died. The gender identity case involves Amy Stevens, who says she was fired from a Detroit area funeral home after telling the owner she was transgender and planned to transition. Stevens' former employer says her transition violated the company's dress code.
It was a difficult choice, but I felt it was in the best interest of the grieving families our business serves.
In this very case, Tom is being punished for having the audacity to apply a sex-specific dress code based on an employee's biological sex. And we're hopeful that the court will uphold the law.
What happened to me was wrong, and hopefully we can fix that and correct it from this point on.
Actress Laverne Cox, who is transgender, was also there.
It should not be okay to discriminate against someone simply for being who they are.
There were transgender lawyers in that courtroom, and the transgender men were following the men's dress code and using the men's restroom, and the transgender women were following the women's dress code and using the women's restroom, and the sky did not fall.
A decision is expected sometime next year. The cases today are the court's first on LGBTQ rights since Justice Anthony Kennedy's retirement and replacement by Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Kennedy was a voice for gay rights. Maurice, Christine.